So we are doing a grade 12 physical sciences, and we are going to start with momentum and impulse. All right. So before we even get to the definition, the formal definition of momentum and impulse, let us say maybe there is a fence, ne? You are trying to jump a fence. I'm not trying to say that you guys should jump fences now, but I'm trying to say, let's say you want to jump a fence. What is the best way to jump a fence? Is it to run and then jump the fence, or it is to just jump the fence without running?
Run, jump,
Run and jump.
Yes, you run and then you do what? You jump the fence. So basically, for you to be able to jump the fence effectively, you must get some running and be a bit and get some speed. And then after that, you can make the jump. Otherwise, if you can just jump the fence, you are less likely going to make it, right?
yes,
Exactly. So what actually makes you to be able to jump the fence successfully when you run? It is because you've got enough momentum. So basically, the combination of your mass and your velocity is a physical quantity that is known as the momentum. So momentum, we define it as the product of an object's mass as well as its velocity. So this definition, most of the times they give it 2 marks in your exam question. It's simple. We just say it's the product of an object's mass and its velocity. So basically, let's just say you have got this is a vehicle. This vehicle, you can see this is my beautiful car, and it is moving with a certain velocity v to the right. So whenever I want to calculate the momentum of that car, the formula that I will use would say P is equals to M multiplied by V. So it's P is equals to M times V. All right. So the P here, it is standing in for the momentum. So momentum, we use this symbol P to represent it. So momentum, we use a small letter P, guys. It's not a capital letter, right? It's a small letter P. It's a momentum.
yes.
All right. Then you need to know that, guys, in mass, how do you measure mass? Well, what is the standard units that we use, Gambe, from your previous grades?
Kilogram.
Kilograms, right?
Kilogram.
Yes. So whenever you substitute the mass of an object into the momentum formula, your mass must be measured in kilograms. So this mass must be in kgs. So whenever you are given a scenario, make sure that your mass is in kilograms, because sometimes they can give you a number in grams. Yeah, and then if you use it, if you dare use it in grams, you're gonna tell yourself you passed the exam, and then you're gonna cry when you receive the script, right?
Yes.
Cool. And then this V, it is standing in for our velocity.
Velocity.
All right. Yes, and velocity, we know that we measure it in standard units of meters per second. Right. Yeah, so all you need to find the momentum of an object is simply the object's mass and the object's velocity. So if you know how much massive is the object, how heavy it is in kgs, and you also know how speedy it is, or how fast is it moving, then you can find the momentum. So basically, here in grade 12, you do linear momentum. You don't do any other momentum. You just call it linear momentum. So whenever I say linear momentum, I will just say momentum. Okay. Don't. Whenever you see linear momentum, don't be surprised. I'm still talking about the same momentum, which is the product of an object's mass and its velocity. Is that clear, guys?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So, I wanted to ask for velocity. So, isn't it? It's measured in meters per second, right?
Yes.
But then also, how do you convert from kilometers an hour to meters per second?
Okay, so the conversion from kilometer an hour to meter per second, I think you can just divide by 3.6. Okay, let's say kilometer per hour to meter per second. So I think to make things simpler, we usually use 3.6, but you can do it manually but they will hardly give you problems with that. But you divide by 3.6. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, 3.6. So from kilometer per hour to meter per second is divided by 3.6. And then when you want to go backwards, it means you would have to multiply. Yes, so it's divided by 3.6. Then from meter per second to kilometer per hour, you multiply by 3.6. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Thank you, sir.
So in grade
So
10,
Sam,
yes.
so when they're talking about linear momentum, are they talking about like something like straight?
Yes, it's along a line.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, it's along a line. Linear, it's along a line. Just means that your object is moving straight in a straight line or along a straight line. All right.
Oh, so we don't have inclined.
Well, an inclined plane, it is still a straight line to an extent. I mean, if it's an inclined plane like this and you've got an object that is moving down the inclined plane with a velocity v, this is a straight line actually. It is just an inclined one.
Mm-hmm.
So things will start getting crazy when you go to university. That's when you learn of angular momentum. But for now, everything is just linear momentum, meaning that your vehicle is just walking on a straight path. Okay?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool. So linear momentum now, it is a vector quantity. So basically momentum is a vector quantity. All right? We classify it as a vector, meaning that the momentum must have a magnitude, a size. Okay, remember the magnitude is the size, right? And then it must also have the direction. So it must have the size and must also have the direction. Why does momentum have to be a vector quantity? Remember that velocity is a vector quantity, right? Yes, so since velocity is a vector quantity, then momentum is also going to be a vector quantity. Okay, let's just say, for example, this car, since it is moving to the right, let's just say it is moving with a velocity of, let's just say it is moving with 2 meters per second. And let's just say the car is 200 kgs. So we've got a 200 kg car that is moving at a speed of 2 meters per second. Let's just say at a velocity of 2 meters per second to the right. Remember that the direction of a velocity always determines the sign. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Because it's a vector, right? We say that when the vehicle is moving to the right or to the east, what is the velocity? It is a positive velocity. Right? And when the vehicle is moving to the left, what happens?
It's negative.
It is a negative. Okay, I can see a hand from Sam Lee.
So Rante, I was getting direction. Sometimes right to ends be negative and left to ends be positive.
Well, definitely you can do that, definitely, but we actually keep a standard la physics. We actually take this one as a standard so that it makes it easier for you, because once you take left as negative, it means right must be positive. And most of the times people make mistakes and they end up taking right as positive and left at the same time. So to avoid such mistakes, we need to kind of create a standard that would work easier with the person. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So usually when we take right to be positive, or east to be positive. Remember, you can use east, north, south, right?
Yes.
Yes. So if we use east and the north and the south and the west, then if a velocity is moving towards the east, it must be positive. It is moving towards the west, it must be negative, just to create that standard altogether.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So now, if we are given such a question, you have got 200 kg car. The car is 200 kgs heavy, right? And then we have got it is moving at a speed of 2 meters per second, right? So how much momentum will it have? first of all, whenever they say calculate the linear momentum of this car, you would have to start with the formula P is equals to mv. So you write the formula first. The momentum P is equals to the mass times the velocity, right? So P is equals to mass times velocity. And then now, when you now substitute, what is the mass of this car in this case?
200 kilograms.
200 kilograms, and it is in kilograms. So the mass, it is in kilograms. So you are allowed to substitute it exactly the way it is, because kilograms is the standard unit for mass in physics, right? And then the velocity that we're having here, it is what? It's 2 meters per second, right? And then it means that the momentum here, it is going to be 400. 400 what? Dogs. 400 dogs. What is the momentum here? 400 dogs.
Kilometers minute. Kilograms per second.
Per second.
Yes, kilograms meters per second.
Minutes.
Yes, kilograms.
Meters or minutes?
Meter. Meters per second. Is it? Yeah, meters per second, not minutes.
Oh.
Guys, remember, Pella, the unit for velocity is meters per second, right? Can you agree on that?
Yes,
sir.
Cool, right? And then the unit for mass, it is what? It is kg, right?
Yes.
So when you write the unit for momentum, the standard unit, you're gonna start with the kg, and you're gonna say this is kg, right?
Yes, sir. And then the direction is in the positive direction.
Yes, so you're gonna start with kg, then you write meters per second. So this is kg meters per second. It's not kg per meter per second. No, it's kg meters per second. Do we see where the unit is coming from?
Yes.
Cool. And then now we say that momentum is a vector quantity. So it means you are not only allowed to write the size only, you must also write the direction. Now my question is, what is the direction of this linear momentum?
The rightward.
To the right.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Really? Why?
Oh, sir.
So because we chose the right as our positive direction, and the answer came out as a positive, meaning it's to the right.
Cool. That's a cool explanation. That's a cool explanation. We chose right as positive, and when you substituted our velocity, which was 2 meters per second, to the right, we found a positive answer. So by right, we should write that this momentum is going towards the right, or it is going to the right. So in other ways here, I'm trying to say that the direction of the linear momentum, it is always the same as the what? As the velocity. Do you get the sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Semli, I see your hand.
So, sir, if headed to the positive direction, I mean correct.
Okay, so the positive direction, as you said, it is what you choose it to be. So whenever you say positive direction, it doesn't really indicate that you have selected a positive direction. That's why it is important for you to choose and say, right is my positive. So instead of writing 400 to the positive direction, it's safer to write 400 kg meter per second towards the right, or to the right, because you have chosen right to be the positive direction. Okay, so when you just say positive direction, it's kind of you are generalizing things to say that I can still take my positive to be something else. You get the sense, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So it's safer to use right as positive. I repeat. So here's quick questions. A car is moving to the east at 4 meters per second. Calculate the linear momentum. 3 marks. Is that going to be difficult?
So what is the mass of the car?
Oh, okay. The the car is, just take a 1000 kg for the car. Okay, I forgot to put the mass here. So this car, which is a 1000 kilogram car, car is moving to the east at 4 meters per second.
Yeah.
Calculate the linear momentum. What are we gonna get?
So 4,000 kilograms meters per second to the east.
Yes, you include the direction. The moment you just say 4,000 kilograms meter per second alone, that's going to be absolutely wrong, okay? So first you write the formula. Remember, you have to follow the steps. You may know the answer, but following the steps is recommended. Sam? Sam, I can see your hand.
We said we choose east as a negative direction. So why are we saying positive to the east direction?
Okay.
No, east is positive.
Repeat.
And west is negative. East is positive and then west is negative.
Do you get that, Sam? Sam?
No,
so
sir.
Going to the east is like going to the right, according to the cardinal point system that we use here. So when you are going from somewhere, you are going towards the east. It is the same thing as going towards the right. You get that, right?
Oh, I get it.
Yes. So east, we use positive for it. So this speed here, this velocity, we're going to substitute a positive 4, meaning that our momentum is just going to be 4,000 times 4, which is, it's 1,000 times 4, which is going to be 4,000 kilograms meter per second. Is it complete?
No.
To the east.
To the east.
Eastward.
Okay. Yeah, eastwards. Towards the east. That's more like a geography learner talking there. Are you a geography learner?
No, so I took consumer studies.
Oh yeah, consumer studies and physics. Really?
Yes.
Oh, awesome combination. I've never seen any school giving combination of consumer and physics, but that's awesome as well. So this is 4,000 kilograms meter per second towards the east, or you can say eastwards. All right. So when they are marking here, basically they just want the formula, the substitution, and the answer with direction. So when the answer doesn't have the direction, is incorrect. So there is no need to really do number 2 because it's really the same thing. I don't know if it is really visible here. It says a truck moving to the west. Okay, let's do it. A truck moving to the west with a momentum of 20 kilograms a meter per second has a mass of 4,000 kg. Determine the velocity of the truck. All right. So let me just erase here so that you can see better. We already found the answer. So can you all see the statement clearly?
Yes.
Okay. So now we are given this truck. So let's just analyze, where is the truck going, guys? Where is the truck going?
West.
It's going to the west, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now, what is going to be our momentum? Let's just say we write our formula. P is equals to M times V. That's momentum is equals to the product of mass and velocity. What are we going to write on the momentum P?
20.
20. 20.
20.
20.
What are we going to write?
We first decide on the direction.
Yes, guys, you first decide on the direction. Momentum, we say that momentum is what? Is a vector quantity. Okay, so you must treat it with its direction. So if you're just going to put the 20 exactly as it is, you are trying to say that it's going to the positive direction. And in this case, remember that we have assigned, east is positive, right? And west is what?
Yes.
Is negative. So when you So when you substitute the momentum P there, you cannot substitute the 20 exactly as it is. You substitute the what? The negative?
Negative 20.
Exactly. What is the negative for here actually?
To show us the direction.
Yes, the direction, because momentum is a vector quantity with both magnitude and direction. We get that, right?
Direction.
Cool. All right. Is equals to the mass of the truck is 4,000. Simply that. And then this is times the velocity. Okay, you just divide both sides by 4,000. You just divide both sides by 4,000. Although you are going to get an unrealistic value here for the movement of a truck.
1 over 200.
So
Negative 200.
negative what?
1
200.
over
0,005 meters per second.
0.005, not 200.
0,005, right? Nothing else after 05.
Meters per second to the right.
Okay, so that's gonna be a negative answer. Yes,
So can I please ask?
yes.
So isn't velocity a scalar quantity, so we don't have to put a direction? Isn't acceleration the vector?
Velocity is a vector quantity.
Oh,
Yes. Speed is a scalar quantity, but velocity is a vector quantity. You remember that, right?
oh, so I thought it was the same thing. I thought speed and velocity was the same.
No, what differentiates them is that velocity is a vector. It's a speed with some direction, but speed is just a speed without no direction, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so it's negative
So if I write-
0.005. Yes?
So, sir,
So if I write it in a fraction, like negative 1 over 200.
Remember that we need to always make our answers to be decimals, and they need to be rounded off to 2 decimal places. So writing it as a fraction is a bit of an unrealistic way of seeing it. I mean, like, it's not like everyone can always evaluate fractions in their mind. Yabo. Let's say, for example, if I just say 1 over 2, there are less people who will think it's 0.5, you see. So it's better, or it's recommended. Let me not say it's recommended. You are supposed to write it in decimals, actually.
also, sir, if I say the answer is negative 5 times 10 to the power 3, it's wrong.
5 to the power 5, 10 to the power of negative 3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's correct. That's correct. It's the same thing as saying it's a decimal. It's a scientific notation, that's one. Yeah, and it's the recommended
Yes.
one, especially for physics. But now this negative, what does it tell us? What does the negative tell us?
The direction.
To the
Yes.
negative direction.
So therefore, we can just say our velocity, its size is actually 0.005 meters per second. And the direction that we're going to use here is what?
West 1.
Yes, west one. So do you realize, guys, that the direction of the linear momentum, it is always the same as the direction of the velocity of an object?
Hmm?
The direction
Yes.
of the momentum is the same as the direction of the velocity.
Oh, yes.
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 Always. Okay, so when your momentum
So
is going
meaning
to the
if-
west, yes,
So, meaning if your velocity is negative, your momentum will also be negative.
definitely. It has to be. That's how the formula is made, actually.
Oh.
Cool.
So,
It's gonna be 3 marks. So this is the level one of momentum. Easy, right?
Yes.
Hello. So,
Yes.
would it be safe to change the formula into V equals to mass over change
Yeah.
of momentum?
Or to change into momentum over mass, right? To make V the subject of the formula.
Mm-hmm.
It is still the same thing. It is still correct. You're just going to say that the V there is equals to what? Is equals to P over M. It means that in this formula here, the first one, you have divided on both sides by M so that you remain with V as the subject of the formula. Then you just substitute into, and you put negative 20 here, you put 4,000 here. So it's actually the same thing as what we did here, but you just do it in a formula way.
So, sir,
Yeah.
they won't eliminate me if I used this one. If you know than the first one.
No, they will not eliminate. They will not eliminate the mark because this formula, this one I'm highlighting, which is P is equals to MV, is actually the same as this formula.
But sir, the answer is not the same.
Isn't it?
Oh, it is the same.
It must. It must. Okay, so are we cool now with the level one questions of momentum?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Cool. Guess what? Momentum can change, guys. It is not always the same thing. Like, it can change. The momentum of an object can change. What do you think can change the momentum of an object if it moves,
So
let's just say, from point A to point B? What can change the momentum of an object?
So the velocity can change the momentum.
Okay, Orifa says the velocity can change the momentum. Do you guys agree with her?
Fnet.
Fnet, okay.
The change,
Fnet can change.
Acceleration.
Oh, let's just talk
the
about
change.
let's just talk about what we have already learned for now. Let's not get to the Fnet. You're still going there. Don't worry. What do you think can change momentum? What other thing?
So it's the mass. The mass.
The mass.
The
No, the velocity.
All right. So
velocity.
someone says the mass. That's quite hectic. All right. Let's just rewrite the formula one more time. Remember, we said that linear momentum is equal to mass times velocity, right? So if you can see in this equation for finding momentum, the mass and the velocity, which one can change between these? Does the object's mass change as it moves from point A to point B? Do you think the mass of an
No.
object can change? No,
No.
it doesn't. The mass always remains constant. So basically, the mass remains constant as an object moves from point A to point B. But we know that the velocity, as it moves from A to B, it can happen or it can change. We know that, right?
Yes.
Yes. So this one, it can change, but the mass cannot change. So basically, what changes momentum? It is the velocity. Do you all get this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm?
Okay.
So like,
Mhm.
so if you deep this, right? Don't you think the mass can change? Because like, say you're in a situation where it's a boy and a skateboard, and then maybe the boy goes off the skateboard, and then the skateboard continues going.
Here we are.
Mm.
Okay, wait. Before,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Let's see. We can see Mr. Mkono raised their hand there. Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Marabu, to disturb, guys. As you were saying that the velocity can change, can you guys say what can affect the velocity to change?
Acceleration and deceleration.
acceleration.
Azkale.
Acceleration.
Talk. Yes.
The
Acceleration.
object slows down due to friction, I think.
Yes, Mr. Mkono, you can talk.
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to lower my head.
Oh, yeah. So, what are we saying? Who said something? I think I heard someone saying something.
Someone mentioned the friction.
Yes, sir.
When an object changes velocity, it slows down due to friction.
That's correct. That's correct. Rafia, you can continue with your question.
Yeah, so I was saying, like, if you like deep the fact that the mass can change the velocity, because isn't it, if it's a boy and on a skateboard, the mass is more, so the momentum is going to be greater, right? But say maybe the boy jumps off the skateboard and then the skateboard continues going, so now it's going to be minus the mass of the boy, so the momentum is going to be smaller.
Okay. Okay. Let me just.
Provided that it's a constant velocity.
All right, cool. Let's just intervene them. So for now, we haven't done a combination of two objects, okay? So once the mass is able to change, that is when you've got two objects that are in contact with each other and they act as a single unit. For now, we are still doing the change in momentum of one object with a constant mass.
Yes.
We are still going to do the combinations and collisions and explosions. Don't worry, you will see how it goes there. We cool?
Okay.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So for now, can we agree that if the object remains the same and nothing happens to it, or no one comes and takes away mass from it, or maybe this car, no one comes and takes away its wheels, nothing can change in the mass, right?
Yes.
Exactly. But the velocity can change, and I think someone said it can be due to friction, right?
Yes.
So velocity is actually a factor that changes momentum. So now let's just say at first this object, okay, we've got 4 minutes before our break. Let's just say this object at first, it is moving to the east with 2 meters per second. Oh, I like 2 so much. And then it has got a mass of 40,000 grams. So we've got 40,000 grams as the mass. Then we've got 2 meters.
4,000.
What?
Oh, yeah,
40,000 grams.
40,000 grams. I repeat,
Oh,
40,000 grams
okay.
moving with 2 meters per second. Then after that, let's just say some friction did some work on it. Some friction came. Now the object is no longer moving. Now this car is no longer moving so fast. Okay? Is there any question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, please make sure you use the feature of raising hands so that I can be able to address it, yeah?
Yes, guys, those who are not answering or asking questions, please mute yourself. Please, guys.
Okay, the question? I'm giving 5 seconds. The question, or we continue?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
problem. So I was like offline for a few seconds. I don't know what happened in my absence.
Oh, okay. How much did you miss?
I ended, I don't know if it's Bonolo or who. She was saying something about a boy being on a skateboard, and then a mass can change the velocity, I think.
Okay. So
But the
far,
momentum.
just to make a simple clarification there, we say that we are still going to deal with cases of a skateboard and a boy where we've got 2 or more objects. For now, we are just dealing with one object that is not really being done anything to it, meaning that it is not changing in terms of its mass or in terms of its speed. Okay? Or it's still changing the velocity. It's changing the velocity, but the mass cannot change.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, since we've got 1 minute before our break, I've said, Duty, this truck was moving, this 40,000 grams truck was moving at 2 meters per second to the east. And now, let's just say maybe I have to slow down, or maybe there's a friction, or maybe there are police that are chasing me because I don't have a license. Now I have to slow down. Now the velocity decreases to 1 meters per second, right? 1 meter per second. So with that in mind, what do you think the change in momentum is, or how can we approach the change in momentum? So we are going to a 10 minutes break. Ponder on that. If you can, calculate the change in momentum for the truck.
Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video, and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes.
Let's just look over it, right? So we said as the car moves, or as this truck moves from point A to point B, it has got a mass of 40,000 grams. All right. So let's just say now we want to find the change in momentum. Guys, when I'm talking about a change, what does it mean, a change? Is from your
So
previous.
final minus initial.
Yeah, it's final minus initial. You want to see how much something
The
is
difference.
is the difference between the final value of something and the initial
And the
value.
initial value.
Perfect. So basically here we are looking for the change in the linear momentum. So we need to know what was the momentum at point A or before, which was initially, and what is the momentum finally, which is at point B, right? So the first way, before I get to your complicated formula, the one you sent on the WhatsApp group, I will just say the change in momentum is going to be the final momentum minus the initial momentum. Is this correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And we know that momentum is equals to the mass times velocity. So when we are talking about the final momentum, we are going to use the final mass of this car times the final velocity of the car, right? So I'm just going to rewrite my formula as the mass, the final, okay, the mass is the same. So this is the mass times the final velocity minus the mass times the initial velocity. Is this correct? Do we still understand what's happening here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just substitute the formula of momentum for the initial at first. What is the momentum? What is the product of mass and velocity? Finally, what is the product of mass and velocity initially? Is that clear?
Oh,
Yeah.
So to these awesome geniuses that I'm seeing here, I don't know where these geniuses coming from. Is it Gauteng province or what? That are saying that we can factor out the M from this. That's quite a thing, right?
Oh, yes, sir. How thing.
Gauteng way.
But you guys know that KZN will always take number one on the matrix, right?
Not
No.
this year. Not this
No
year.
way.
Not this year.
year.
Taking down one, Zulu.
I don't worry. I'd like to see you try challenging us. So I kinda leave you to it. It's fine. Let's just factor out the M here because remember, Uti, the mass is the same on both terms, so we can take out the M as a common factor, and we remain with VF minus VI. Okay, so let's just substitute. You are allowed to just substitute into this formula, guys. Don't do all the complicated stuff that I've done here on top. This is just for you to see how we get to this formula. So you can even use this formula itself, or you can substitute into this second step. Okay. Okay. Are we clear still?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to take and say this is my 40,000, and then I'm going to say my final velocity is going to be 1 minus my initial velocity is going to be 2, and this is so perfect, right? Please punch in the calculator. What is the answer?
Negative 40,000.
Wow, that's a cool answer, right?
Grams.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful answer. Negative 40,000 is a very beautiful answer. Guys,
Negative 40,000 grams.
let me repeat again. When it comes to this formula, you need to remember that mass is measured in the standard units of kilograms. So me substituting 40,000 grams is an absolutely bland, actually, it's incorrect. So the moment you put 40,000, you can get the wrong answer. Okay?
Yes.
So let's convert. What is the 40,000 grams in kilograms? How do you move from grams to kilograms?
So you just
by
divide
1,000.
Yeah,
divide.
1,000 grams is equals to 1 kg. So to move from grams to kg, we need to divide by 1,000. But to move from kilograms to grams, we need to multiply it by 1,000. So in this case, we're having 40,000 grams. So you're going to take the 40,000 and then you divide it by 1,000. That's going to give you how many?
40.
40 kilograms now. All right. Now the final velocity that we have substituted here is VF. You see the final velocity. Don't forget, guys, velocity, it is still a vector quantity. So the sign is still important even when it comes to this formula. The final velocity is 1 meter per second. To which direction? Towards which direction?
The west.
West.
Pardon me, what did you say?
The west.
No, not the final answer. I'm talking about the velocity, the final velocity, which is 1 meter per second,
Yes.
is going to there.
So
What's the direction of this final velocity? Where is it going?
East.
so it's going to the west. I don't understand, but
West, sir.
Let's
Because
just
the
do this.
direction is the same, but the velocities they are changes, right, sir?
Okay, east, north, south, and west. All right. Initially, where is the car going? Where is it going? Is direction based.
going to the
East.
To the east.
It's going to the east, Angesh.
Yes.
Yes. And then finally, where is the car going?
so
Still going to the east.
It is
it's still
still
going to
east.
the east, but
Yes.
it's decelerating to the west.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, when now you've put it in the right terms and said that it is still going to the east, meaning that the final velocity it is still towards the east. But the thing is, it is decelerating. It is the velocity is decreasing. That's what it means, decelerating. Okay, so please let's make sure that when we
Yes.
substitute the VF here, the one that we substituted is a positive 1 because it is going to the east, all right? And then the initial velocity is a positive 2 that we have substituted into this formula, okay? Because there's a minus in this formula, right? And on V initial, we put a positive 2 because initially this truck was moving to the east. Do we get this sense of velocity thing?
Yes.
All right. So all you need to do is to find what is going to be the answer. That's going to be negative 40, right?
Yes.
So negative 40 kilograms, and you can say
Meters.
meters per second. And then the negative, what to do about it?
The direction.
The direction. Okay. So what do you notice here? What do you notice here, guys? Remember, we said that the linear momentum itself, it has the same direction as the velocity. You still remember us saying that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But the change in momentum is not always the case. Do you realize that?
Okay.
So guys, don't treat the momentum and the change in momentum as the same thing. That is why I put a wrong on Semli's answer, not because I was brutal or maybe I'm a bad person with heart, or no, I have a heart of stone. No, it is to really emphasize that the change in momentum and the momentum itself, they have got a bit of a difference when it comes to the directions. Okay, so the change in momentum can have a different direction. In this case, you can see it's going to the west, but our vehicle it is still going to the east. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so please be careful and don't have misconceptions. So the formula that we use officially is this one. Delta P is equals to M into VF minus. Are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
No,
sir.
West.
All right. Okay, you guys are in grade 12. Okay, is there a question there?
Yes, sir.
Don't forget to raise
West
your hand.
Kenyan.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, sir.
All right. Let's see
Sir.
why we say west. Okay. All right. So remember, we have taken our east to be a positive direction, right? And our west to be a what? A negative direction. And we said that a linear momentum is a vector quantity. So it also means that the change in momentum, it is also a vector quantity. So linear momentum is a vector quantity. So the change in momentum, it is also a vector quantity. But the difference, now comes the difference. The difference between momentum itself and the change in momentum is that when you are doing this change in momentum formula, you can get an answer that is a different direction. For example, here you can see that here our delta P, we found negative 40 kilograms per meter per second. It means that this negative is going, I'm sure we say that the negative direction is the west for this scenario. So you can see that the change in momentum, it is taking a different direction, but still the object is going ngale. Okay, but don't stress too much about the change in momentum and this direction. Make sure that you just understand that when you are having a positive one, it is to the east. When you are having a negative one, it is to the west. But in the way, when you are going to other levels, or when you are going to learn this at higher levels, you are actually going to understand the physical meaning of why this west can work. But for now, just make sure that when you substitute your velocity, you substitute with the direction, and then the answer that you will get there, you will see whether it's positive or it's negative. But the change in momentum, it is also a vector quantity. Are we kind of getting each other? Yes.
So, would it be wrong if, because I'm looking at this, right? And
Yes.
in my head, the logic, I don't know if you'll understand my logic, but doesn't this formula, like the answer that we got, doesn't it link to Newton's inertia law?
Okay.
Like the fact that the resistance of the object, isn't it? It's inertia says like you resist any change in your state of motion,
Yeah,
right?
yes, the
So-
tendency to resist the change in the state
so-
of motion.
Even though it's decelerating, it's still going eastwards. So like, would it be like smart to think about it in an inertia way, or like, am I just derailing?
Okay, you don't have to think it in an initial way. You don't have to think it in an initial way, because in an initial way, it says that the object will have that tendency to resist a change in the state of motion. But when you look at this actual scenario, the object has not resisted at all, because it has changed from 2 meters per second to 1 meter per second. So applying it is kind of you opposing what has actually happened, because what has actually happened here shows that the object has slowed down. It means that it has decelerated, it has changed the state of motion.
Okay, sir.
So try your best to not include inertia for this one, at least for now. But later on, you can, if you're enthusiastic, you can go deeper. It's a very fine thing. But for the sake of grade 12 calculations, may you please stick at this point. Now we're still together.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm just going to erase this. I think people saw what you guys even did this problem on your own, so you probably saw what happened. So to open space, I'm just going to erase. So can everyone see the question clearly, the example number 1? Okay.
Sir.
So here we have got a 2,000 kilogram car initially moving at a constant velocity of 18 meters per second in an easterly direction. So it's moving initially at 18 meters per second in an easterly direction, and it approaches a stop sign, resulting in a complete standstill. Calculate the change in the car's momentum. Let's collect the data a bit. Let's collect the information that we know. Do we know the mass of the car?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is 2,000 kilograms. Do I need to convert it?
No.
No, not at all, because it's in standard units, right? What else do we know about the car? What else do we know about the car?
The
The
velocity.
final velocity is 0.
Which velocity now? Because remember that
The
here
final one.
is it. Do we know the final or the initial? Okay, which one is the initial one?
18.
18, yes, because they said at first the car is moving at 18 with 18 meters per second towards the east. So I'm going to write that as a positive velocity of 18 meters per second. The positive there is standing in for the direction, by the way. And then they say it approaches a stop sign, and then it has to stop immediately, otherwise it will start hitting the greenies. So now this results in the complete standstill. What does this mean?
The final velocity is 0.
The final
Yes.
velocity is equal to 0.
Yes, the final velocity is equals to 0. It means that it will stand, it will not be able to continue. So it actually moves and moves, and then it stops, and then so that we can avoid some danger and accidents. So can you be able to find the change in momentum from this?
Yes, sir.
Is it going to be difficult, guys? Just substituting into
No,
this
sir.
formula. You just
No.
put the
No.
mass. Yeah, it's clear, right? You put the mass,
Yes,
you
sir.
put the velocity, final, and the initial one. So that's for you guys to do. You cannot be doing like grade 9 stuff here. Let's continue. This one, we need to do it. A cricket ball has a mass of 200 grams, or with a mass of 200 grams, approaches a cricket bat at a velocity of 20 meters per second west and leaves the cricket bat at a velocity of 35 meters per second east. Calculate the change in the ball's momentum during its contact with the cricket bat. Anyone with an idea?
Yes, sir.
What can we do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first off, we're gonna choose our direction. So we can maybe say that the 20 meters towards the cricket bat will be our positive direction. And then away from the cricket bat will be our negative direction. And then we'll sub in the signs in our formula. And then obviously we convert 200 grams to 0.2 kilos.
Yeah, that's pretty clear, right? So where the cricket is going, it is to the west. So we want to take west as, okay, so Orifa says, let's take west as a positive direction. You can still do that, guys. It's still going to give you the same answer. But let's normalize using the standard of east to be positive and west to be negative, so that you don't get in trouble later on. Maybe when you're going to the Newton's second law, you might forget that acceleration is a vector and you forget the sign. That's probably going to happen if you keep on changing directions. Make sure that you stick on to one direction that will use the rest of your life until you have kids and you get married. Use the same direction. You see that? Are we clear? No, am I talking alone?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So west is negative, right? If we take west to be negative and east to be positive, we know that this cricket ball, is there such thing as a cricket ball? I don't know, but this cricket ball is going to the west, and then there's a bat here. There's a cricket bat, right? It is going to the west at 20 meters per second. And then it bounces off from this cricket bat. So initially it is moving with the speed, with this velocity, but when it bounces off finally, it comes back with a speed of what? Of 35 meters per second. All right. So here, if we want to calculate the change in momentum, we simply use our formula here. Change in momentum is equals to m into Vf minus Vi. And in this case, everything is pretty clear. The mass is a wonderful 200 kg. And then what is the velocity final? The velocity final, what is it?
35.
35.
Oh, wow. So the mass is very correct as it looks like this.
No, it's 0.2.
Yes, 0.2.
No, divide by 1,000.
Yes, you divide it by 1,000 first. Yes, so you divide the mass by
0.2.
1,000. That's going to be 0.2. 0.2 actually. So 0.2. The final velocity there is 35 meters per second to the east. What am I going to write here?
35.
35, right? A positive 35 because I've taken my eastwards direction to be positive. We get that, right?
Yeah.
And then on the initial velocity, this is a minus from the formula. On the initial velocity, what am I going to write?
20.
Minus
Open
20.
bracket and minus.
Yes. Because I've chosen my west to be negative, and they said initially it is moving to the west. So this
As a
must be a
negative.
negative. Yes. Yeah, was Sam? Sam, you are raising your hand.
Yes, sir. So if negative 35 plus 20, it's still okay.
Go on.
It's wrong first. Let's start. It's still wrong. Okay, not which is completely wrong because you're gonna get the correct answer. It is actually wrong in a right way. I don't know if you get me. Why do I say that? So basically, you see this formula is saying mass into final velocity minus initial velocity. So when you make a substitution, you must follow the formula, meaning that you must substitute the final velocity, in this case, which is 35, and you subtract the initial velocity in this case, which is negative 20. So if you just say 35 plus 20, you shortcut. It's correct, but it's wrong. It's correct in a wrong way. But, so I will say minus 1 mark. Yes, Mr. Mkuno's hand is there.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to emphasize. So, guys, on the direction problem, if you've written east, you must specify next to it. East represent the positive direction. Let's say you're using east and west. You must really specify, not just leave east alone, because the examiner or the marker will not know what east represent what. So if you didn't use maybe positive or negative, just east or west, you must explain or write next to it that east represents the positive direction.
Is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes, you should do something like this so that the marker can see what's your intentions. Sam, do you get why you shouldn't say 35 plus 20 on the get-go?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now you're just going to now change. Now you do the mathematics now, and you now say this is 35 plus 20. The rest is history. You guys got a beautiful calculators that are so expensive. You can use them to punch in this wonderful mathematical problem. Otherwise, the answer that you are going to get there, if it's a positive answer, what is that going to be? The direction?
It's going to be east.
Okay. If it is going to be a negative answer here, what's going to be the direction? Can it ever be negative?
West what?
Okay, cool. But for this one, it's going to be positive. We can see that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't forget the units, guys. You guys know how to calculate things correctly. Then suddenly you don't write correct units. You want the lecturer or the teacher or the marker to assume that this is, you are calculating the number of dogs or something. Okay, that's why I usually say 10 dogs or 10 what. You must write the units. Then after that, you write the direction if it's a vector. Understood, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Vroom, beep. Okay, so now we are going somewhere. But before we go somewhere, here's one thing that you need to ponder on for a multiple choice question, right? So now, if I say this is the formula for the change in momentum, m into vf minus vi. Since you guys are grade 12s, you need to now learn how to reason mathematical. It's known as mathematical reasoning. So if a multiple choice question comes and says, if an object is moving with an initial velocity vi and a final velocity vf, what is going to be the direction of the change in momentum if vf is greater than vi? What is going to be the change in momentum? What is going to be the direction of the change in momentum if vi is greater than vf? And what is going to be the direction of the change in momentum if vf is equals to vi? These are the questions that pop up in multiple choice. So I will repeat the question and rephrase. So now you know the formula for the change in momentum. You are given an object moving with an initial velocity vi and then a final velocity vf. I'm asking you about the direction of the change in momentum, the direction of delta p, delta p, if it happens that vf is greater than vi.
Wait, the east.
The direction will go to the west.
Why, Bonolo?
To the east.
It is going to be negative.
Let's I want okay, one by one. Let's start. I think I saw Mukovu. Where is it going?
If final velocity is greater than initial velocity, the change in momentum is gonna be to the direction is gonna be to the east.
Why?
Because when we subtract initial velocity from final velocity, it's gonna give us a positive value.
Awesome, guys. Can you clap hands there and open your mics, all of you? That's not loud enough. Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know why others are not clapping. You guys, I don't know, maybe you're telling yourself you guys are too old or what, but you need to be to clap when someone does a good point. Okay, so if I'm pronouncing correct, it's Mukobe, right? Mukobe, right? Is it correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Mukobe says that VF minus VI here. You can see that in this formula we've got VF minus VI, right? So if it happens that VF is greater than VI, it means this value that you're gonna put here is greater than this value that you're gonna put with initial velocity. So you see that you are actually subtracting something smaller from something bigger. Do you kind of get that sense?
Yes.
So let's just say, for example, if I say 50 minus 10, you see that 50 is bigger than 10, right?
Yeah.
So the answer is going to be what? Positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. But if I change and say 10 minus 70, what is this going to give me?
Negative.
Negative, because I'm subtracting a bigger value from a smaller value. Okay, I'm saying smaller minus bigger. So if the VF is greater than VI, it means I'm saying bigger minus smaller. So that's going to be a positive answer. So it means that the delta P, yes.
What if negative 5 minus 10?
Negative 5 minus 10. Okay, we can still do that as well. Let's just err up here and give some space. What is negative 5 minus 10?
Negative 50.
Okay, negative 5 minus 10. Let's look. What about negative 5? Is it a greater or smaller than negative 10?
It's greater.
It's greater, right? So this is a greater than this one. And what you get is negative 15. So basically, here you are getting a bigger value. It's just that negative answers, they kind of work in a backwards. So you kind of need to think it backwards, but I don't want to confuse you, right? So basically, when you are reasoning here with the mathematics, if we're having something like negative 15 in negative numbers, we say that here we are getting a bigger value, actually, a bigger negative value. Okay, although it's in mathematics terms, it is actually smaller. Okay, but it's fine. Let me not confuse you. Let's just follow this pattern that Mukobe has given us. That will work. That will work. Yeah, for all positive answers for now. Okay. Is it fine? Because if we start explaining negative values, they kind of need you to be someone who's enthusiastic about the maths. You can go do the research about the maths, but basically the idea here is let's just work with positive numbers, whereby you have got VF greater than VI. It means that you're gonna get a positive answer when you're gonna get a positive answer when you subtract this. But if it happens that VI is less than VF, what will happen?
The direction.
The opposite of what Robert said.
Yes, it's the opposite of it, because if we say something like 5 minus 10, you're gonna get something negative. Okay, let's see assembly.
So I have a question. So if let's say V final is greater or less than V initial, solve that kind of problem.
We cannot have two options for this one. Okay, we can only have that in a mathematical world. In physics terms, we cannot really have greater or equal to, because an object cannot be at two states at once. Okay, so we need to have something definite to say VF is greater than VI. It's impossible for an object to have two velocities at the same time. Kind of get the sense. You cannot have a VI is greater or equal to VF, because it's impossible for you to have two states at the same time when it comes to such problems. Get me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so they will never make a scenario for you like that, because it doesn't really exist in a classical world. But if you guys continue doing physics later on in life, you're gonna do this thing known as quantum mechanics, whereby that is possible. But for now, that's not possible for grade 12s. It's not possible for you guys. Repeat after me. It's not possible for you guys, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for now. But to those who are gonna study physics later, it's gonna be possible. Okay. So now let's now blend in some Newton's law into momentum. Guys, do you remember Newton's second law from grade 11? Yes, yes, Rifa?
No, sir.
Sir, I'm so sorry to disturb your class. But sir, as you're teaching here, sir, I'm with my guidelines. Like I'm referring to the guidelines and what you're saying also. So sir, before Newton's second laws, right?
Yes.
On the guideline here, it says describe the vector nature of of momentum and illustrate it with some examples. Draw vector diagrams to illustrate the relationship between initial, final, and change in momentum for each of the cases above. So how do you do a vector diagram of a change in momentum?
Well, basically, it's phased out that one. They will never ask you to draw vector diagrams. Now, Newton's second law, what does it state? Okay, don't state it. What is the equation?
So the F net is MA.
Net equals to MA.
So F net is equals to MA. So it means the net force that is exerted on an object will definitely be directly proportional to the acceleration of the object, and then inversely proportional to the mass. You know that, right? So now you need to remember, guys, what is acceleration from your grade 10? How do you define acceleration?
Delta T over delta P. Delta V over delta T.
So mathematically, you say delta V over delta T. This is the mathematical definition of acceleration. But in words, how do you define acceleration in words?
Okay, so like the definition or like what you just wrote down, how do we describe it?
Yes, it's still kind of the same thing, yeah.
So delta V, so delta V is the final minus the initial velocity because delta is change, so it's change in velocity.
Yes, the rate of change of velocity. Because remember, when you are dividing by delta t, it means we are finding the rate of something, right? So acceleration, we define it as the rate of change of velocity. Do you hear that?
Yes.
So instead of acceleration, I can just write what I've just found here and say F net is equals to the mass times delta V over delta T. And if I know delta V, that it is Vf minus Vi, this is going to be M into Vf minus Vi over delta T. Do you see that I just replaced delta V with Vf minus Vi because it's the change in the velocity? Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So from here, guys, what do you notice about this? Do you know this from somewhere? This?
Yes, the change in momentum.
Yes, this is equals to the change in momentum. So I can just rather say that my net force F net is equals to delta P over delta T. So now we are going to the last break, and when we come back, we're just gonna do 15 minutes and then we'll be able to dismiss, right? So please go and ponder on this formula. What do you think this formula means? Because now you guys need to know how to interpret formulas now. What do you think this formula means? So in this 10 minutes break, make sure that you comment on the group. What do you think this formula means? Okay?
Yes.
Sure.
Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes.
So I will hear your interpretation, guys. Let's hear from the first one who would like to volunteer. Open your mic. What does this formula say to you?
Okay, sir. So I'll just say what Bonolo said. So Bonolo, I think it was Bonolo in the chat group. She said that F net is directly proportional to the change in momentum and inversely proportional to the rate of the change in time or something. That's what she said. And then on top of what she said, I added that F net is equal to the rate of change in momentum as long as it's in the direction of the net force. Because I'm looking back at Newton's second law.
Okay, cool. Why did I even give you 5 marks for this, guys? So that you can think quite a lot, eh? What is the third thing that you said after the inversely proportional?
For me.
Yeah, whoever was talking just now, well, what did you say after the inversely proportional?
So I said that F net is equal to the rate of change in momentum as long as it's in the direction of the net force.
Yes, it's a rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum. Cool. So these are not things to underestimate, guys. Does anyone of you want to be an engineer here?
Yeah.
If you want to be an engineer, guys, you should be friends with physics, as in you should understand physics so that you can be able to apply it in real life, because you know there are many careers under science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So for engineers, it's very important for you guys to understand the meaning of each and every postulate of this formula. All right. So the first one says the net force is directly proportional to the change in momentum. So it means that if the change in momentum is increasing, then it means that the net force, okay, let's understand which one is increasing the other one here. Is it F net or is it delta P? Okay, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, to the one who's talking. The heart, so you are talking?
So I think the rate of change in momentum is the one that is increasing the F net.
Yes. Nope. Basically, the force is what you apply. You actually apply a force. You don't apply the change in momentum. So it's more like the force is independent. But no. I'm just asking to kind of loosen up the things. Not that I want you guys to go deep in it. It's not really useful for the exams. But basically, if the net force increases, then the change in momentum will increase. So if you apply more force on an object, it will be able to change momentum quicker or faster or more. There will be a greater change in momentum the more force you apply to it. I saw a hand from Sam.
So this part big neighbors are in the graph form.
Yes, we're still going to the graph form, not today, but you will go to the graph form when you come back. When is our next session? Is it Wednesday or what? You look at the timetable. When you come back, we will do something with the graph indeed.
Okay, sir.
Can you please resend the timetable?
All right, definitely I will send it. Okay, and then this second one says the net force is inversely proportional to the time taken. So in this case here, if there is a bigger time taken, what happens to the net force?
It will decrease.
it will decrease. Guys, this one is a very important thing. They will ask you in a 3 marks question when it comes to applying this in real life. Do you guys know that when a car is about to get into an accident, what does it do?
You hit the brakes.
No, let's just say maybe you didn't hit the brakes and then now let's just say you hit the brakes quicker and you're about to get into an accident. How does the car protect you? Do you guys
The seat belt and the airbag.
Airbag, yes, guys. So if you've got those model cars that have got airbags in them, whenever the car is about to crash or involved in an accident, it will release a bag of air full of air and it will cover the whole space so that you don't feel the pain. Do you know that, guys?
Yes.
So basically a car kind of protects you from getting hurt. Yeah, but some cars, of course, not all of them. Yeah. So how does this what does this have to do with momentum and impulse? So basically the airbag, let's just say now you're about to get into an accident. The moment you press the brakes, when you step on the brakes quite quickly or rapidly, what will happen? The airbag will be released. That airbag actually increases the time of impact. Okay, so it increases the time taken for the impact to get to you. So it means you will feel a smaller force from the accident. Let me repeat myself. When you're about to get into an accident, if your car doesn't have an airbag, then it means that you're just going to crash and you're going to feel a bigger force. You are probably going to get injured because you are feeling a very big net force. But if there's an airbag, the airbag actually increases the time taken for the impact to get to you. All right, so the airbag increases the time taken for the impact to get to you. So when the airbag is increasing the time, it means that since time and net force, they are inversely proportional. It means that when there is more time taken for the for the impact to get to you, then it means that there will be a smaller net force. Do you guys hear me?
Yes, I'm kind of
okay, it's
lost.
fine. Okay, it's fine. Let's not use a car because a car is kind of a something complex. Let's use a punch. Do you know, guys, a punch? Do you guys know a punch?
The stationary punch.
Yeah, you guys like beat each other with punches, right?
Oh, like a punch that you hit with someone.
Yeah, like someone beating you with a fist, right? So if someone is beating you with a fist, for you to feel more force, that person has to beat you quickly. Like he has to beat you fast and take off his hands from you. Then you will feel more force. But if the person doesn't beat you quickly, like he just stretches out his hands and he touches your nose for 10 seconds and he removes a hand, are you going to feel the pain?
No.
So basically for a greater net force, we need for a greater net force, we need shorter time. And for a smaller net force, we need longer time. That's why we say that they're inversely proportional. So when someone is hitting you with a punch, basically if they take a small amount of time in contact with you or with your nose or with your body, you are going to feel more force because the time and the net force, they are inversely proportional. So if they take less time to beat you, it means that there will be a greater force. But if they take more time trying to reach the punch to you and reaching the punch on the nose for a whole minute, imagine their fist is on top of your nose for 1 minute. Are you gonna feel any pain? You're gonna feel like they are playing Angisho.
Yes, sir.
Yes. It's like someone even a slap, guys. If someone slaps you, they will slap you quickly, and take off their hands. You're gonna feel more pain. But if I put my hand slowly on you and I just slide my hand on your cheeks, you're gonna feel like I'm even you doing that romantic stuff and whatnot. You won't even feel any pain. You get the sense, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So whenever they say you need to explain what's happening there, you have to explain that if there is longer time taken in contact like longer time in contact between two objects, then it means that there will be a smaller force experienced. That's the real meaning of the inverse proportional. That's how you can apply it in real life. Okay, but the third one is the best for defining, because you need to know how to state Newton's law in terms of momentum. So this is how you state it. This is how we state it. You now say that the net or the resultant force acting on an object is equal to the rate of change of the object's momentum in the direction of the net force. Do we all see this definition?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's
Yes, sir.
stating Newton's law in terms of momentum. Because remember that all of this formula and the inverse proportion, all of this, what we are doing it from Newton's second law. We derived all of this from Newton's second law, but now it is in terms of momentum. So basically, the net force acting on an object is equal to the rate of change of momentum of the object in the direction of the net force, and this is the formula for that Newton's law. So for now, we are going to stop here because it's late and you guys need to sleep and you need to drink a lot of water. In matric, you need to get enough sleep. That's why we are working early. Right now, we are working early. Okay, we are not going to do like emergency exam revision sessions, no, so that you guys can get enough time to sleep and grasp the information, and you'll be able to do it. So we'll say that for now, or for today, we will rest for today, but you will rest with this work that you can see. Not that you should do it now, you will do it and then you will provide the answers when we meet. You might be having some confusions because we haven't done calculations based on this Newton's second law, but I recommend that you give it your try and you do a lot of critical thinking, because you guys need to be the ones that do the work. Yeah, so please make sure that you put in the work on this one. Even as hard as it is, try your best to analyze and try to reason with it, so that you can be able to conquer any question that you can meet in a hard question paper. Are we all together, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, with that said, let's kindly conclude our session. I think I can feel that someone wants to pray for us as we go to sleep. Please do the honors, whoever it is.
Okay, no problem. Baba, siyabonga isikhathi lesi baba unamandla ngeJesu Kristu waseNazaretha. Sibonga baba ukuthi usisize sithole khona ukuthi sifunde, sibonga le mthuba.